Okay, we're going to do a little update on my TopCat. After I rebuilt after I burned up the bearings in it before and redid it. I ran it for about an hour this morning. I cut a little bit of grass. I don't know how well you can see over there. Cleaned up a good bit of brush. It cut down some trees. I cut down some that were probably 3 to 4 inches. There's a bigger one there I was going to try to get, but I never did. I didn't want to push it too much. I just wanted to test it for a little bit and then check the oil in it, or the grease in it. When I opened it up, there was some grease down the bottom, so I was afraid I was losing a little grease. But what happened, it wouldn't. I tried to give it some grease, it wouldn't take any. What was happening, I think it's just coming out there's a pressure release valve in there, and I think that the little bit of grease that was in there was either what I'd spilt or what had come out of that pressure relief valve, because it wouldn't take any more grease. I tried to give it some more. It's full. I took off both sides of it and it was full all the way. So that 00 grease seems to be working well. This thing spins really nice with the new bearings. I lifted it up where I could see underneath it when I stopped it, and it spun. Even after I'd turned all the hydraulics off, it spun for maybe 2 minutes before it stopped. So that's how well it was spinning. Spinning really well with those bearings and that 00 grease. So I highly recommend it. I think that's the way to go. So yeah, I'm real pleased with the 00 grease. Seems to be working well. I will say I tried to leave that orange cover off so I could get to the grease real easy, but you don't want to leave that off. It was full of leaves and it had rained. It was full of water, and that could get down in your bearings and down in there and rust everything out. I don't like if you see all those ridges, this thing just holds water really easy, so you need to park it under something that's covered maybe. I don't really want to put this in my new shop that I built, so I'm just going to try to cover it up with something for now. But you definitely want that orange cover that's down there around with the 4 bolts. You can't leave that off because it just fills up with trash and water and everything else. So, but otherwise I'm really pleased with it. It cut really well. It cut the grass really well. I don't know if you can see way down there where I ran a few down there on the flat part, down the hill. I mowed all that grass. It was probably, well, before it turned brown, it was probably knee high. But that's like fescue, so it's really thick and hard to mow, and it mowed right through it. And it cleaned all that up really well there. We'll walk over there and look at that. I probably reclaimed about 4 to 5 feet of my property right over here along this line, and I could still need to do a lot more, so I just wanted to see what it would do. And you can see where I trimmed all this, it didn't have any problem cutting this. You can see that bigger tree I cut down right there. That's probably at least a 4 to 5 inch tree right there. I was gonna try to get that one, but I didn't want to press it and tear it up before I really got to use it good, so we'll ease into that. But you can see it cut several 4 to 5 inch trees in there. The little anything 3 and below, it just goes right through it. The ones that are 4 and 5 inches, it didn't take long. It took a little more work. But you can see it was grown up probably 4 to 5 feet all the way out here into my grass, and so I've already reclaimed a good bit of my yard here. But there's a fence back there, and there was a tornado a couple of years ago, and I don't know where that piece of tin came from. It came off somebody's building when that tornado came through, and that's where it got stuck. So I need to get that out of there and clean it up. But you can see it's hung on the trees by that fence, but you can see that little red reflector right there. That's where the fence goes right across through there. Still got a little room to probably get another foot or two in some spots. You can see I got right up to the fence here. I don't know if you can see that fence or not. I got up to it pretty, I didn't want to catch the blade in the fence, so I got up to it as close as I dared for now until I get a little more used to using it. You can see that fence comes right across there and goes right on down. right through that big tree right there. Bigger trees are where the fence is, so I'm gonna reclaim all that. I've got some more property back there behind my building, probably another 10 or 15 feet I could reclaim, and it seems to clean it up good. So now that the bearings are changed and you got the good bearings and grease in there, I'm pretty happy with this thing. So again, I don't think I'd pay $5,000 for one. Pick you up one used, make sure you put the grease in it. I recommend that. It really won't take regular grease. You can't get it in there to the bearings, and if you don't, you're just gonna burn them up again. So use that double alt grease. It's really for cotton spindles, is what it was designed for, but I know a lot of farmers use it in their gearboxes, and this is really not a gearbox. It's just bearings in there. So really all it is a transfer case. It transfers your power from that motor to the blades. So it's just a transfer case with bearings in it, really. But if you don't have any oil in there, you're going to be in sad shape. You're going to have an expensive boat anchor. But other than that, I noticed too, I don't know how it bent it. I didn't notice hitting anything big. I must have hit one of those, pushed against one of those big trees, but I think I bent that back paint. So in about 45 something up on it. This is pretty stout right here, but I don't know. That under long. I bent it. It's probably use of it, but I've already bent something on it. So one other thing I'll say before I wrap this up, it ran good, but I was starting to have little problems with it. But it was not enclosed. It didn't have air conditioner or heater or any of that, so I wouldn't trade it for a brand new one. It was so dusty. We hadn't rained here lately, and it was so dusty. I don't know if you could ride in this thing. It's probably not safe because it could throw something back and hit you. I don't know that you're just mowing grass without a cab. I would say if you don't have a cab, I don't think I would buy one of these things. Not just because, you know, if you're just mowing grass, it might be all right, but if it's dry, which it probably is when you mow grass, it just throws that stuff and it just blows all back on the cab. I would have been miserable. You'd have to wear a mask of some kind. This machine doesn't have about 5 hours on it, so most all of that dirt and grass is from today, because it looked brand new before I got on it. So it's a messy job. So I would say if you don't have an enclosed cab, you're going to have a hard time using it, and it's probably dangerous as well. But I checked all the blades underneath. They're good and strong. Nothing's come loose. Nothing's wobbling or anything. But anyway, I just want to do that update, let you know that if you got one of these and you rebuild it, it's probably worth it. Again, I don't know if I'd spend $5,000 on one of these. If you can find one on eBay or that's where it buy them. You can buy them at the auction. You at the auction and they sell them for about half price, $2,000 to $3,000. It's probably, I think I got about $3,500 in mine plus $100 for rebuilding it, something like that. I can't actually remember, but I'm glad I didn't pay full price directly from the dealer. Of course, I may not have burned it up if I'd have done that, but I learned a lot about it by rebuilding that transfer case, and it wasn't that hard to do. It really wasn't. Just getting it apart's the hard part. Actually getting it back together was the harder part, because it's hard to get that blade on there if you don't have any help. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't mean for it to be this long. I just want to kind of give an update. But yeah, the spindle oil, the double alt grease works great. Those bearings, now I can't remember the name of the bearings, but I believe they're high quality. This thing's really nice. Like I said, after I turned it, it spun for a minute and a half before the blades would stop, and there was no oil. Well, that thing spins now, double alt grease. So if you do what I did, you'll be in good shape, and I'm real pleased with it now. Oh, another thing I did too was my new machine has high flow, and it runs so much better on the high flow. My other machine was struggling with it. It didn't have the high flow auxiliary hydraulics, so that's another thing I would suggest. It'll run it, but it just not as, it struggles a little bit without it. With this one, man, it's with those high flow, no struggle. It runs really great. It doesn't bog down or anything. So I do recommend that you have high flow hydraulics for this bigger one. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. If you've got one, good luck with yours. and I'll update it again down the road.